Namaste everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to talk about quantum jumping, how to raise your vibrational frequency, use the power of quantum jumping to tap into your highest reality. So let's start with a brief introduction to quantum jumping. Quantum jumping is the idea, is the concept, is the realization that we live in a quantum world. We live in a world of infinite possibilities and we can tap into different versions of ourselves, as in different realities of ourselves. Every time you choose, every time you make a decision, you are shifting into a different timeline. So this moment acts as a playground for different possibilities, this present moment. Everywhere you shift your attention, you are becoming a match to that version of yourself. As everything is energy, everything is vibration, you are also a vibrational being. And you have a vibrational frequency. So physically we may think that the choices that we are making, the decisions that we are making, they are shifting us. But actually it's our own energy, it's our vibrational frequency. And we are constantly emitting a vibration. And that vibration is letting the universe know that what we want, what we are shifting into. So let's start with the first thing that can help you to raise your vibrational frequency. And that is your belief system. The way you act, the way you think, the way you make decisions, choices, it's all majorly influenced by your belief system. What you believe about yourself, about the world, about everything. And by default, our belief system is at the frequency of fear, survival, lack. The only way we can get out of this default programming, default belief system, is to take accountability that we are in charge of our belief system. It's not about pointing fingers at the system, but realizing that you have the power to change it. But a lot of times, when we are unconscious, we end up justifying those belief systems. We start becoming agent of the matrix, of the system. We start thinking that's what life is, because we are so much in fear. And this fear, in the name of practicality, in the name of logical thinking, that this is how it's supposed to be, we end up limiting our potential. We start giving our power away. We never think of ourselves as an infinite being, a quantum being that is constantly interacting with the reality, shaping the reality based on the belief system. We become powerless. So we have no choice but to take side of the system. The moment you wake up, the moment you have a certain level of consciousness, awareness, then only you will understand the concept of quantum jumping. That's why you're here. That itself shows that you have a higher consciousness than the masses. Then you start working on changing your core beliefs, and it can be changed. This is the power of your subconscious mind. That everything you start repeating to yourself again and again. It doesn't require logic. It requires repetition. It requires a commitment. And all you have to do is to believe that you are deserving of more. More than fear, more than lack, more than your self-doubts. You deserve more. The moment you go beyond the fears and see that life has more to offer, suddenly there is a vibrational change. Your frequency changes. And that's how the reality changes. You can force your way. You can try to change the outside reality through fear. That's what majority of the masses are doing. They never change their belief systems. They go on living in fear, lack, survival. They compete, they hustle, they fight with each other to reach to the top. And the whole process is very rigid. There is no flow. There is no playful energy. It's all serious. And a lot of times, majority of the times, you lose your soul on the way to the top. You just forget yourself in the way. It all becomes about the accomplishments, the things that you will get in the future. And while getting there, you are just suffocating your soul, losing yourself in the process. So this is why it's important to become aware that you have, by default, survival consciousness in you. The vibrational frequency is of fear, greed, all the low vibrational frequencies, because we have been programmed like that. We have been conditioned like that by the system. There is a reason that we live in a world where majority of the people have low self-esteem, because we all have been shamed for our true selves. No one accepts your true self. You are shunned, you are shamed, you are told you are not worthy if you express your true self. That's why we carry shame, and everyone have different experiences because of which they have low self-esteem, low confidence, and we are unable to express our true self. So change your belief system, shifting to the frequency of abundance by telling yourself constantly after your daily meditation, when before you go to sleep. These are the two best times to change your belief system, in the morning and before going to sleep. Saying the things to yourself that shift to a higher timeline, to a higher frequency, that I live in an abundant universe. I am always supported. You can shift your belief system through telling yourself again and again what kind of reality you want to experience. This universe is always saying yes to you. It is a mirror. You say, I'm in survival. It says, yes, you are in survival. Let me give you that reality. You say, I am in abundance. Everything is effortless. Everything is playful. I can reach to the top without getting serious. The universe says, yes, you deserve that. So you have to become deserving by changing your belief system. Otherwise, it's just not possible. So realize this. Your belief system is the biggest key of changing your vibrational frequencies. If you never change your belief system, your vibration is bound to remain the same because your deep-rooted energy will be the same. You will only think in terms of fear. Whenever an opportunity shows up, some choice point arrives in your life, you will only shift towards the fear. A very good example is that a lot of times we never follow our passion, our purpose, because we are always in the fearful frequency. We only see failure even before taking the first step. At the end of that passion, even before taking the first step, we see failure, that I'm failing at it. So you should sit down with yourself and observe your belief systems, that how you have been programmed, and write it on a piece of paper. And then switch that belief system, that if you think I have a low self-esteem, write, I am confident, I am powerful, I am infinite. Change your belief system by writing the opposite statement. This will help you to see that you are not powerless. You have power over your reality. Every moment, the universe is listening to you. It is responding to your vibration. Every moment you think in your mind that there is so much fear, there is so much survival, and I have to be also like that, the universe is listening and it will give you that reality. On the other hand, every moment you say, I am abundant, I deserve abundance because I am worthy of it, because I love myself. I don't have to constantly sacrifice myself, put pressure on myself, and go against myself. I don't want to lose my soul. I deserve to live a life where my soul is fulfilled, not suffocated. That's what the universe will give you, that reality. So change the inside. Work on your belief system. Change how you think, how you believe about things, about yourself and about the world. Open yourself up, open your heart, and see that abundance is everywhere. Don't contract yourself. Don't live in survival. You are also not able to trust anyone. Trust this world, trust yourself, because your heart is closed. And that's the major key that will help you to manifest, that will help you to quantum jump. Opening your heart. Your heart has an auric field, an electromagnetic field that is more powerful than your brain. It's a scientific fact. It's more powerful than your brain. So the aura, the energy of your heart, the field of your heart is more powerful. So the intention that come out of the heart, it can change your reality. But when you are in fear and you're always thinking from the mind, you're tapping into a weaker energetic field. You're operating from a weaker space. So change your beliefs and change your energy, which will definitely change your life. The next thing that I want to talk about is transforming your self-image by self-discovery, by realizing yourself beyond the ego. The ego is your self-image. It is the self-image which is given to you by others. It is the self-image which is a derivative of your conditioning. All your desires, all your dreams, ambitions, what you think you should want, Everything is influenced. Nothing is coming from your true, authentic self. That's why self discovery is important. That's why the spiritual search is important. Otherwise, you are just living on the surface. Even when you realize this concept of quantum jumping, without spiritual awakening, without a self discovery, you will just work on the superficial level. You will just try to become something on the superficial level. That now I can have a lot of money, I can become anything, I can learn a new skill. Definitely, it's helpful. But still, there is something within you which is your true self, the essence of you. And we all are different. We all are unique. We are not supposed to live life in the same way. The idea the rat race proposes is that we all are same rats, and we all are supposed to run in the same race, and we all are supposed to live in the same way. This is not your truth. We all are different, unique, and that's why if you don't discover yourself, you will just quantum jump on the basis of that rat race. It will be very superficial. If you truly want to quantum jump into your highest timeline, which is the authentic self, which is connected to the true essence that is within you, you have to discover yourself beyond the ego, beyond the self-image. And that's why it's important to ask yourself this question: who am I? Go within. Meditate. Start your spiritual search. If you are someone who is into a certain profession, you are a doctor, or you are a husband, you are a wife. We have all these identities. A lot of times, a person is nothing beyond those identities. You don't even know yourself anymore beyond that, because all the time you are just doing that. There is nothing wrong in that. But if it's suffocating you, if it has become a serious thing, there is no playfulness in that, it's draining you, you should question. If something is in synergy, synchronicity, if something aligns with you, it doesn't drain you. On the opposite, it makes you more energetic, vibrant. So you have to question, who am I beyond these identities? That's the true meaning of spirituality. To know yourself as that spiritual being which came here to have a human experience. These identities limit you to the human experience. They tell you you are the human and you have to seek the spiritual experience. But the realization, the self-realization, self-remembrance, whatever you want to call it, it makes you realize that you are a spiritual being. You are here to have the experience of these identities, but you are not limited to that. And if you can make the experience in alignment with the spirit, that's what the purpose of this experience is, actually. To truly experience the world as you wish to. But here, it's opposite. There is no wish, there is only command. The system commands how you will experience the life. Others tell you, you have to become this, you have to become that. There is no inner clarity, inner guidance that's telling you that this is how you will experience the reality. There is a guidance that does not come from the ego, from the system, from other people. It's your own. Your intuition is developed. Now there is a higher power that is guiding you to your true reality. It is constantly giving you nudges, directions, that this is how you will shift into that timeline. Now you don't follow the herd, the masses, you follow yourself. You follow the higher self, the universe. Now you just flow with life. You no longer try to force your way. It becomes playful. It all becomes playful. And another thing that happens when you dissolve the self-image, you become fearless. The greatest fear of the ego of a human is death. That's what happens when your ego dies. You become free from fear because you dissolve the greatest fear. That's why it's very important to realize yourself beyond the self-image. Otherwise, you will just live a superficial life. Even if you practice spirituality as a trend, it will be a superficial life because you have not gone through the ego death. This process of death and rebirth is very important. It's very crucial. And you see it in all the cultures, whether it's the Eastern, the Western. the idea of death and rebirth, because it gives birth to the most highest version, which is inspired by the spirit. Then you truly understand that you are not just a human experiencing with different identities. You're actually a spiritual being having a human experience. And it's completely different from the life that you're living now. So the fear, the deep-rooted fear, can ultimately dissolve when you go through this process of self-discovery. And another very good thing that happens is you realize your authentic self, you realize your true values, you realize your purpose, passion. Everything just comes to you when you let go of all this noise. You just have to drain out all this noise that is coming from all these identities and just go within. Ask yourself this question: who am I? No one sits with this question anymore because we are always stimulated, we are always indulged in that identity. So if you are here, if you are interested in this spiritual search, begin with this question. If you meditate already, bring this question into the meditation, not with a seriousness that I want the answer, with a playfulness, let's see where it goes, with a curiosity that let's ask this question and see what remains. Without all these identities, what remains? So this search, this realization is important. It aligns you with your spiritual nature. It aligns you with the highest timeline that you truly deserve. The final thing that I want to talk about is shifting from the victimhood to being the co-creator with the universe. A lot of times our vibrational frequency is very low because we become the victim of our reality. Victim not in the sense where you have experienced abuse, where it's genuinely there is a concern, you need help. At that time, you don't need to gaslight yourself. Speak up, seek help. But I'm talking about the victimhood, where you are complaining about life. Maybe you are stuck in a job, in a relationship. Nothing is majorly wrong, but you know you have more potential. But because you justify your fears, you just stay there. And there are many examples that you can take in our own lives. We complain, we play the victim, we justify our victimhood. What are we doing? We are blocking ourselves. Our vibrational frequency is at victimhood. That's the message we are sending to the universe. And the universe says, yes, you are a victim. On the other hand, if you say that I am a co-creator with this universe, I can co-create my reality, suddenly you have a power. You are not a victim. And you might notice that people bond on this victim energy. Everyone is talking about their problems. Oh man, I'm so stuck in life. I have this problem, I have that problem. And no one is telling them that you are creator of your reality. Everyone loves bonding on victimhood, talking about the problems. And a lot of times it's the ego which is getting happy that okay, this person is suffering more than me, that he has more problems. Let's not tell them that I have less problems. Let's talk about my problems. There is a fear that if I become empowered, if I show up as a person who has less problems, who is doing good in the life, maybe it will be taken away from me. Let's not tell them that. It's again the realm, the paradigm of fear, survival. That people are afraid to shine. People are afraid to say that I am enjoying a good life, I have no problems. People are afraid to say that because victimhood is glorified. So we live in a world where being empowered is not glorified. It will not make others happy. Instead, a lot of times people get triggered, pissed off when you say that I am creating my reality, I am living a free life, I am not a victim of my reality. Because it reflects that they are the victim. It reflects them. You become kind of a mirror, and all their limitations are reflected back on that mirror. So you are not actually a victim. The victim is this identity. The victimhood comes because you think you lack, because you think fear is the norm, fear is okay, because you have not yet awakened. But even after awakening, it takes some time to shift into the creator energy. because that vibrational frequency is the highest. And to reach to that creator consciousness, you have to first of all realize that you are not separate from this universe. You can have the experience you deserve. It's all about how worthy you think you are. And instead of complaining, you have to shift towards the vibration of appreciation, gratitude. That's the beginning. But this is just the beginning. You have to appreciate, you have to be grateful. Then the next step is empowerment. You have to commit to your true authentic self that you realize after self-discovery, and without any fear, tap into that timeline. Keep making the choices that align with the values of that authentic self of yours. That comes from self-realization, that comes through your intuition. Definitely you will feel fear because the reality that you get from the system, from following the herd, it's very secure. It ensures your survival. But your higher self, it doesn't want you to live like that. That's just the truth. It doesn't want you to be part of the rat race. You have a higher purpose. You are not here to just exist. It's a very hard pill to swallow. But this is just the truth. That we have certain assignments. But it was never meant to be a mechanical life. This is the structure that humans have created, not your spirit. The structure that we are living in right now, it came out of the human ego. It did not come out of human spirit. That's why no matter how much you justify the system, I don't think that the universe, your higher self, ever intended to live this way. It's actually the weird stuff that you like. The true self, the authentic self that was always called weird, different. That's who you are deep down, and you suffocate that because that self-image is not acceptable by the masses. You know that. So you mold yourself and become the victim instead of becoming the creator. So to become the co-creator, realize that you have power. Every word you say, every choice you make, commit to the authentic self. Commit to the values that you want to live by. And every choice point that shows up, make that decision that aligns with your true self, with your highest timeline. Keep making that choice. And that's how a snowball effect is created. Don't settle for fear. Don't settle for the self-image that tells you that you are not enough, that you are not worthy. That's not the true you. So this is how you change your vibrational frequency. You raise your vibrational frequency. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can like, comment, share. You can also support my work by hitting the thanks button. And please make sure to subscribe. See you in the next video. Much love to you.